The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk.
Okay, before we get started, Ash Neil with some breaking news, okay? The only reason this Oilers fan gets a little bit of spotlight on Locked On Canucks is because he's a fellow Findu friend, okay? It is what it is. Ember Creek, shout out to Surrey. But he's saying that 120 pub in Delta had a bunch of Canucks fans cheering for the Oilers last night. And now we got to talk about Bowen Byram replacing Quinn Hughes. Like,
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Man, what a fucked up timeline we're living in, man. Unbelievable here. Welcome. Whoa. My bad. Anyways, we're on here at Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of the show, and as always, joined by my brother Kyle Bowen here on Locked On Canucks. And yeah, man, oh man, dark times ahead for the Vancouver Canucks, potentially. But hey, Quinn Hughes ain't gone yet. But if he does go, could a guy like Bowen Byram be brought in to replace him again? It's looking like the Buffalo Sabres potentially wanting to move on from Bowen Byram, thinking that he may not be a fit there. Let's touch on that to kick off today's episode. Let's also talk about the Canucks revealing the coaching staff. Who the puck are all of these guys? And let's get into the Canucks Diva Watch and the Abbotsford Canucks as well. All that's coming up here on Locked On Canucks. But first, we got to shout out our friends over at Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And Kyle, lots of change for the Canucks potentially coming this offseason. Lots of change, let's not even say this offseason, this month. This is a huge month for the Vancouver Canucks. And do you think this month includes the Canucks chasing Bowen Byram, whether it's, once he becomes a restricted free agent in July, or via trade maybe here before the draft?
well, here's the thing, Trevor. I wake up in the morning depressed, sad. Did I say depressed, right? After consuming all this hockey and consuming the truth yesterday involving the Oilers winning game one. And then I wake up in the morning and I keep hearing the speculation that the Vancouver Canucks, even though that they have all the D in the world, their hand is firmly in the D, okay? They still want Bowen Byram. And now I'm thinking, do they want Bowen Byram as an insurance policy? Oh God. For Quinn Hughes. I can't believe I said that. But let's say Quinn Hughes does leave in 12 months. Do they want to capitalize on Bowen Byram, who still has a lot of potential, right? Pretty prominent in a Stanley Cup run as well already in his young career. When that guy is, should I say, penny on the dollar, Trevor? And is that good strategy? Yo, if Quinn Hughes is going, I'm sorry, that is.
I'm still not fully buying that Quinn Hughes is leaving, first and foremost. I'm just going to put that out in the open. And then shout out to Uncle Ricky. Shout out to our Canucks insiders saying that, that Quinn Hughes loves it in Vancouver, loves where he's living right now. But I think it's a risk management strategy that you might have to employ, right? Because, there's no replacing Quinn Hughes, but at least Bowen Byram provides at least a similar stylistic game to Quinn Hughes. And look, I don't think we've seen the best of Bowen Byram in the NHL because he was buried in Colorado. And of course, he had more opportunity in Buffalo, but even then, he's behind, the likes of Rasmus Dahlin over there as well, who also plays on the left side. So, look, I think Bowen Byram does have more to give at the NHL level. And I don't know if he's a great fit right now in Buffalo either. What they really need is a right shot defenseman, not another offensively gifted guy on the left side. And for the Vancouver Canucks, you can make the same argument because Quinn Hughes is already there, right? It's, obviously Bowen Byram's behind Rasmus Dahlin in Buffalo. He'd be behind Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, but it's a risk management plan if the Canucks were to lose Quinn Hughes via trade or free agency in a year or two's time. But Kyle, if the Canucks are going to get Bowen Byram, what does it look like in your eyes? Like, is it a trade? Do they offer sheet him? Of course, they'd have to get the third round pick back from the Calgary Flames in order to do that. But what is the most realistic path for Bowen Byram coming to Vancouver? And does this actually make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense. Let's just say that, right? It only makes sense if again, they're scared of Quinn Hughes leaving in 13 months and 20 months, whatever the math is. But, you look at the Oilers, you look at the Florida Panthers, you look at Vegas, you look at, Dallas. Actually, I don't know if you want to look at Dallas's D as like the benchmark. But anyways, you look at Florida and Edmonton, and you're like, yo, they don't have. Obviously, both teams would take Quinn Hughes because he's just generational and so good. But long term in the playoffs, I don't know if you need Bowen Byram and Quinn Hughes, right? I don't know if you need to go the extra mile to risk trade your assets for Bowen Byram as opposed to like somebody who's Bowen Byram but who can play center, So again, it makes no sense for this team stylistically and with the long term vision for this to happen. And look no further than Buffalo. They have Owen Power, Dahlin, and Bowen Byram. Like, you don't need to have multiple top end young prospect elite defensemen in one position group on your team to go far. It's actually just it's not the way to do it, considering again the Canucks have so many holes in their forward department and question marks with Elias Pettersson. Now, what would they give up? Let's say again this is an insurance policy. They want to think ahead. I think Trevor, in your industry they call this risk management, right? Maybe, I don't know, asset management. I don't know, man. Like, are you giving up? Is it like Tom Willander 1-for-1 for Bowen Byram? Is it Jonathan Lecker-Mackey 1-for-1 for Bowen Byram? Like, I don't know. Like, what else could this team give up? Because please don't tell me it's Elias Pettersson for Josh Norris and Bowen Byram. Please don't tell me that. Like, I don't want to hear that for a second.
Well, at the end of the day, only the Buffalo Sabres make those kind of moves, right? I mean, acquiring Josh Norris in return for Dylan Cousins is always just like, getting these guys in to shake things up, even though they don't really fit. It was similar with Byram, and it's hard to say the Sabres really lost the trade when it was Byram for Middlestat. But Byram wasn't really a stylistic fit with the Buffalo Sabres because, like you mentioned, you got Dahlin and Power there. Like, that's your solid 1-2 on the left side. And Byram has some similar things to Rasmus Dahlin, who has signed a mega deal and doesn't appear to be going anywhere. So I think the only reason it makes sense for Vancouver is if you're pretty damn confident Quinn Hughes is walking out the door. And you have a contingency plan. But I mean, part of the reason we're bringing this up is Rick Dahlin was reported the Canucks have had interest in Bowen Byram dating back to a previous regime. And this regime has shown interest in Bowen Byram time and time again. He's been in the rumor mill attached to the Canucks for years now. But it's like, exactly. What do you give up to get him? Like, for me, it's not Lecker-Mackey. Not because he's not tradable, but because Buffalo Sabres got a lot of young forwards in their pipeline. Like, that doesn't make much sense for them. I don't think the Canucks do Willander for Byram. I think they value Willander too highly. And if you're going to trade Willander, you better get a young top six forward. Byram doesn't make any sense. Does maybe like a Hronek for Byram work? Like, that's one of the only avenues I see, unless you think about maybe trading a goalie. Like, maybe that's that Shilov's in the pick thing that we talked about earlier this week. But most of the deals don't make sense. I mean, I think if you're acquiring Byram, you're probably looking to move Marcus Pettersson. He had just signed to an extension because now all of a sudden your left side is Quinn Hughes, Marcus Pettersson, and DPD. And Quinn Hughes, again, is going to be here for at least one more season. Again, we've said it here before. He's not going to get traded, if at all. I'd say the deadline of 2026, trade deadline 2026. So, to me, this trade doesn't make a lot of sense. But, you do have to consider the fact that the Canucks may try to acquire Byram just because he's been attached to them multiple times. And now with the Quinn Hughes situation as well, it's like maybe they're thinking this makes even more sense to acquire Byram at this time.
Okay. How about this? Let's just play this card now before we move on. Okay, like, is there a world where you can win like this? Like, you play to your strengths so much so, and you just have the best defensive unit in the game, right? And then, it's a bit of an insurance plan if it doesn't work out. Like, let's say they do give up assets to get Byram and, they move things around. I don't know, like Marcus Pettersson leaves. I don't know what it is. Like, who knows? Maybe you're moving DP to get Bowen Byram. I don't know, right? But let's just say you have Quinn Hughes, Philip Hronek, Marcus Pettersson, and Bowen Byram all on your team. And Tom Willander, Valentino Martini, the second, Forbert. Like, you're looking at a damn good decor. Like, is there a world where that actually does work out? Like, is that a strategy? Again, you're looking at successful teams in the playoffs, and you're like, okay, that's not what they do. Like, you need depth throughout the whole entire lineup as opposed to just one place. But do you think Rutherford and Allvin still, seem interested in a guy like Bowen Byram because they're, getting a theoretical hard on for like what could be something special. And again, that's that decor.
Yeah. I don't understand the hard on, to be completely honest with you. Aside from the fact that they're scared about losing Quinn Hughes. Like, look, he's a good player, but the stylistic fit isn't really there in Vancouver. And look, Kyle, you can talk about the defense being stacked. We had Bowen Byram and all this, but look at last season. I mean, Bowen Byram played a lot of the season on the right side with Rasmus Dahlin to some success there, so he can play on the right side. But his numbers without Rasmus Dahlin kind of tanked, right? It did seem like, if you watch some of the Buffalo Sabres tape, that Byram's got some skill, but Rasmus Dahlin was doing a lot of the heavy lifting on that pairing. And overall, I mean, look, the Buffalo Sabres had a not bad defense on paper, right? Like, they're saying similar things to us. You got Rasmus Dahlin, Bowen Byram, Owen Power, Matthias Samuelsson. Now they're all young players, but that's a pretty good young top four on defense. And then, of course, the third pairing was a bit messier with guys like Henry Jokiharju and Connor Clifton. But, the strategy about the defense can be so great. Look, I think it can be better than Buffalo, but just the fact that, you add Byram here and it's like, okay, great, we got the stacked defense. I don't think it's enough. And I don't think stylistically it makes sense for the Canucks to go after Bowen Byram.
Yeah, and look at this comment from Swervin Yervin, okay, saying, look at game one last night and the teams playing. Are the Canucks anywhere close to the caliber of those rosters? I mean, that's the standard. Like, that's the way I've been looking at hockey too. And Trevor, I actually do want to thank you now. You know how yesterday I was like, I blamed you for me losing a couple of years of my life, and me and my girlfriend haven't talked in a couple of weeks, and it's like, oh, because Trevor's been making me watch hockey and I watch more of the Oilers and I don't want to be toxic. So me and our relationship is dwindling because, again, I'm watching more hockey, blah, blah, blah. I actually want to just say, no, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to watch more hockey and pushing me to do so this year in the playoffs, because, yeah, my ability to see how far the Canucks actually are is, it's scary, but at least I know how much work has to get done. And the standard isn't just squeaking in, right? We saw what happened last year. Like, we got in comfortably and we're not even in it this year, right? Because we weren't even close to beating the Oilers in game 6 and game 7. Yeah, maybe on the scoreboard in game 7, but look at the way the game went, right? There's so much room for this team to grow and, to use to get to the next level. And I don't know, man. The fact that, like, loading up on one side of things is a possibility here doesn't lead me to believe that, like, something like Greener is saying, our goaltending and defense are playoff caliber as it is. Only focus is top 6 forward. Is it really top 6 forwards? Like, maybe we still probably have to fix our bottom 6 a bit too, because all these teams have good fourth lines, or like not even just good fourth lines, like dominant third lines. Do we have a dominant third line? Is that proven? We're losing Pius Suter, right? Like, we're far. So yeah. It's one of those things, confusing things. Not to cut you off, Trevor, I know we're going overtime. Like, I wonder if the Canucks can, like, do something like this. I'm playing NHL GM mode right now, but what if it's like, yo, Buffalo needs changes, the Canucks need changes. We want a Quinn Hughes insurance plan just in case things don't work out, and we still want to, build from the back end, right? What if it's like, yo, you give us Rasmus Dahlin, we'll give you Elias Pettersson. Like, is there any world where that's possible? And then you flip Hronek and you get like you get a young center or something. You have more money to play with. You fill up the gaps like that. I don't know. I think, like, looking at Bowen Byram to replace Quinn Hughes, it's not big enough thinking. It's because a part of me also believes that DPD could be as good as Bowen Byram at one point in his career. For real.
Yeah, incredibly different stylistically, but the same impact. I could see that happening for sure. Let us know in the comments. You know how we feel, but how do you feel? Should the Canucks target Bowen Byram this offseason? Because whether we like it or not, apparently they've had interest in this guy dating back to pre-COVID by the sounds of it. Man, oh man. Coming up on the other side, you hinted to it, Elias Pettersson. Let's touch on the Diva report about your Vancouver Canucks and get to who the puck are the Vancouver Canucks' new assistant coaches who were just named today. That's all coming up here on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at Monarch Money. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where the hell did all my money go? That's exactly how I felt this morning, but that's where Monarch Money comes in, baby. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. And I'm telling you, man, Monarch Money, bringing me closer to my wife, okay? Because they get rid of the stress, because on Monarch Money, managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. And you know what that means? More lovemaking, baby. Oh, yeah. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off. What? Half off your first year, baby.
Wow. Okay, we back doing this, and that's just making stuff up while we talk about the Vancouver Canucks in early June. For real. And I'm not even bringing up the Diva report yet, okay? I want to get to the comments here on Locked On Canucks. Look at this from Greener, okay, saying, we don't need an insurance policy for Quinn Hughes. I can't believe we just dropped that on today's episode. Oh, that's why the Canucks are still interested in Bowen Byram, because they're scared to lose Quinn Hughes, and they need a backup plan. Oh, God, come on. Okay, Greener is saying, first off, I don't see Quinn Hughes leaving. Now, again, as Trevor reported, you can use the word report when telling your friends this. Our Uncle Ricky, is he connected to the Vancouver Canucks? Hey, we can't say too much. We can't say everything. We can't say anything sometimes. Okay, but hey, he's saying Quinn is very, 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 very happy in Vancouver, and he wants to fulfill the prophecy. Okay. You like that pun? The C, prophecy? What does the C stand for in prophecy? Captain, okay? Anyways, Green's saying, first off, I don't see him leaving. Second, if Quinn gets traded, you best believe a great defender is coming back as part of that package. So again, we don't have to get early. We don't have to go early on this. We don't have to replace Quinn now. How about when we trade him, we replace Quinn in that trade? How about when, if they have to trade Quinn Hughes down the road, since they already have Bowen Byram, they can just get three tops, three elite forwards for him, or you know what I'm saying? Who knows? Maybe get your future number one center for Quinn Hughes. Who knows, right? Ryan O'Reilly for Tage Thompson, blah, blah. Things can happen. So this is interesting times for the Vancouver Canucks, man.
Interesting times indeed. And they were making some news today as well with the finalization of the Vancouver Canucks coaching staff. So lucky guess by me, but like I said, I believe that Sergei Gonchar and Yogi Svechkovsky would not be back there. Of course, not back. So Svechkovsky's in Philly with Tocchet, as we mentioned yesterday. Gonchar, who knows, man, just riding off into the sunset, man, sipping vodka sodas by the pool. Dylan Crawford, the video coach, is also not returned, but the coaching staff's rounded out with the guy we mentioned earlier this week, Kevin Dean, running the defense, running the PK. You got Brett McLean. He is a BC bud, the pride of Comox, BC. He's been an assistant with the Iowa Wild for 3 seasons. Then he was in Minnesota as an assistant for 3 seasons. He's been the head coach of the Iowa Wild for the last 2 seasons. I don't know if this is a typo, but they had an identical record the past 2 seasons, 27, 37, and 8. Interesting. Also, something that gave me a bit of pause today, because we try to stay positive here, but you see things like this. And Brett McLean, again, head coach of the Iowa Wild, now joined the Vancouver Canucks. Adam Foote said today in his media availability, Brett McLean's going to be in charge of the power play. Well, I don't know how much involvement Brett McLean had on the power play with the Iowa Wild, but they had the worst power play in the AHL at 13.1%.
Okay, hold on.
And this guy's in charge of our power play now. Yeah.
Okay.
And then lastly, Scott Young, been in player development for the Canucks for a number of seasons. Long-time NHLer, over the 1,000-game mark, 17 seasons in the league. He now joins the coaching staff as well. He will also have a hand in the power play. So you want to be optimistic. You got to give these guys a chance, but it just feels like a step down from what this staff was when they were originally brought in. But worth noting, I'll make this note, that no one was happy when Boudreau got fired and Rick Tocchet came in with Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar. Everyone was pretty pissed, and that ended up working out pretty well. So what the puck do we know? Who knows, man? Not much. But right now, it's fair to have some hesitancy about this coaching staff.
So we just got the guy who coached, I don't know, one of the worst power play in in the AHL, and now this guy's in charge of our power play when our power play already sucked. I feel like the organization's putting all the pressure on Elias Pettersson, man. Straight up, dude. Again, though, what do we know about assistant coaches? Nothing, man. Nothing. Name me all 6 assistants currently in the Stanley Cup Finals. You know? Exactly. Exactly. It's not that deep. But again, I guess the Canucks fans, we'd be more comfortable if there was like more accolade behind any guy associated with the Canucks, because again, we're just a little sad right now. We're a little sad, but anything can happen, Trevor. Anything can happen. Any more news on these coaches? Is there? Who's the other guy?
Well, that's it for the bench. So I mentioned Scott Young. So Scott Young, Brett McLean, Kevin Diva.
Former 40-goal scorer, 750 points in his NHL career. That's cool. Thank you very much. Congrats. Taking care of the D. Yes. Yeah, we should get him on the show, man. We should get him on the show and ask him if he's scared.
Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not. I mean, he has won a couple cups. I believe both Scott Young and Brett McLean did play with Adam Foote. I got to double check that, but they were both Colorado Avalanche at one point in their careers. So, look, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, again, a guy like Scott Young to me is a guy that has at least earned the promotion. He's been involved in player development, player personnel for a number of seasons. He obviously had a good offensive mind at the NHL level. Doesn't always translate, no, but I think that does help to have at least one guy like that behind the bench. Kyle, do you think, maybe last time on the coaches, and then we'll cut to break, do you think it was a mistake that they don't have a previous NHL head coach behind the bench, or do you think it matters?
I think it's a little scary, considering not just the pressure, but the situation at hand with the Vancouver Canucks, specifically with Elias Pettersson, and how important it is for that situation to be resolved in training camp. Like, they got to make sure that this guy's wired and ready to go and not taking things personal, and maybe some more experience in a head coaching capacity, would allow, Pettersson to cross the other side, right? Cross the bridge. Because I'm scared that, like, again, what the hell did Kuzma, or who was it, Patrick Johnson, whoever wrote this piece talking about the Diva stuff, right? That we'll get to in a couple minutes. Like, is Pettersson going to walk all over the coaches in this room, and is he not going to listen? Like, I don't know if this guy still has an ego. I know I'm talking out of my ass right now, but I'm scared. Okay? Like, was it important for this team to, like, get an ultra leader to make sure that, somebody could get to Pettersson, as opposed to Pettersson just, like, being on a lonely island and thinking he can get by this by himself? I don't know. Just one of my thoughts. But again, we never know. You brought up, nobody wanted Rick Tocchet. I don't want Rick Tocchet when we hired him. This guy was working for TNT. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know about you, but Park Casino's a nice casino, okay? I don't want Rick Tocchet to come down here. All right? Yo, but again, go keep bringing it up. Paul Maurice, Florida Panthers. This guy left Winnipeg out of nowhere. Winnipeg, first, second round team, all the time. Boom, bam. But Paul Maurice, a pretty boring coach. He gets hired by Florida, and the rest is history. Right? What do we know about these guys? Knockenblocker the third, whatever this guy's name is for the Oilers. Knockenblocker. This guy was coaching the Wolfpack literally 20-something months ago, and he's been in back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. Never was a head coach in the NHL prior to that. What do we know, man? Let's not be divas, Trevor.
I'm just trying to think of another couple NHL examples quick of, successful coaches who, I'm thinking of Chris Knobloch. Did they have an NHL head, or a coach on their bench with NHL head coaching experience? The Edmonton Oilers did with Glenn Gulutzan. He was NHL head coach. I think it's Spencer Carberry in the Capitals. Kirk Muller was also an NHL head coach. So there are at least some guys with NHL head coaching experience. Again, I do think it's a bit of a gamble for the Canucks, but again, only time will tell, baby. Okay, let's cut to break here. Let's wrap up the show on the other side with some Diva talk, and then your comments here on Locked On Canucks.
okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks. We do this every day, which means we did it yesterday, people, right? And I see the analytics, and I'm pretty sure that episode's going to do pretty well over the next couple of hours because the Oilers fans did find it. And We the South is a movement, okay? We the South. Can everyone comment after this video is done? We never pull these internet cards out. Me and Trevor are 32 and a half years old. Old Trevor's almost there. But please do it for us, okay? After this video is done, either go to the previous episode of Locked On Canucks on our live stream channel on YouTube, or just this one and just write We the South, go Panthers, go. We the South, we the South, we the South. Let's piss off Alberta. And you know that whole thing about like, 1,000 men versus one gorilla? How about 2 Vancouver Canucks fan versus Vance versus a whole city? Me and Trevor will take on anyone over the age of 30 wearing an Oilers jersey in a 2-verse. I say we can destroy it. Maybe we can take on like 5 Oilers fans at once. I've seen them fight. They fight a lot. Like, because here's the thing, if it was 2 versus 5, I guarantee these guys would be so drunk that they start taking each other out. The other team, because Oilers fans are stupid. Like that's okay, cool. You guys are good at hockey. I don't know how good you guys are at being fans. Y'all just knocking each other out for real. Yeah, we burned buildings and we probably knocked each other out too, but we lost. Anyways, Trevor, We the South.
We the South, man, and just letting you know, Ash Neal down to throw down with you, Kyle. He's down. Let's go. He said, go find him at Scott Road. So there we go. You, me versus Ash Neal on 4 other Oilers fans, man. Let's get it up.
Look at that. All British Columbian Angus beef right there, baby. Trevor, man, can you wiggle your chest? Can you flex your chest? Can you make your titties pop?
Yeah, come on. Oh,
yeah, look at that. Ash Neal, man. Watch out, man. Watch out, man. You challenging the wrong people, man. You really are, man. We the South. Okay, look, there you go, man. Ash Neal. We the South, okay? Thank you. Diva watch, Trevor. You want to touch people? You want to not touch? Sorry. Okay. You want to
touch some people?
No. You want to just explain to people what we're talking about?
All right. So Ben Kuzma of the Province did an article, and I'll try to pull up the quote here, talking about just some changes that could happen to the Vancouver Canucks roster. And basically in the article, he said, quote, another source from management said, quote, management is looking to get rid of emotionally soft, diva, drama-like, cancerous players without doing a traditional rebuild.
Oh my this team finds every excuse
when we traded JT Miller.
This team finds every excuse not to rebuild. It's like, you know what? Or like they find every step before the actual rebuild and they just make something up. It's like, you know what? Let's actually, I know we have only made the real playoffs once in the last 10 years, but I think we should not blow it up until we get rid of all the diva players on the team and then try it out again. Anyways, I wonder who the source was for that quote, because that's a pretty powerful quote. And I don't know, Trevor, again, yesterday, you brought this up because you're dark as puck. Pettersson not on the season ticket renewal newsletter, right? There's no images of Pettersson. Now we're hearing this quote. A couple days ago, we're hearing Pettersson still on the block. I feel like he doesn't look like Aaron Donald yet. I think they asked the team, not like Mike Babcock, but like they asked him for some, photo evidence, right? They say, how's it going, Elias? What's up? Not much. You? Hey, send me the pic. Send me the pic. And he is not looking like Aaron Donald. And, July 1st is coming around the corner, dude. So, I don't know. Is Pettersson getting traded? I'm not going to.
That quote certainly gives you some. I mean, that's two things in the last couple of days. And look, I mean, Ben Kuzma wrote this article based on the fact that Pettersson was left off of the advertisements this week, right? So there could be some, blurring of the lines there. Like the source maybe is just saying, yeah, like there is something to this. It's obviously you got to trust Ben Kuzma. He's been in this industry a long time, but that's a couple signs this week where it's like maybe they are going to trade Pettersson for pennies on the dollar just to get him out of the room. And I mean, who else could they be talking about when they have that quote?
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was about to say. Are we being assholes? Like, is Pettersson even the diva? Like, are we sure about that? Are we just being jaded and like we need to go hug our wives? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, who else do you think it might be? Like, just based on, I don't know. I've been in that dressing room and I've talked to some of the guys, and maybe the character, but like the guy that stands out to me is Elias Pettersson, right?
Okay.
Given the soft answer to the media, not wanting to really communicate with the media, even the end of season media availability stuff was very nonchalant.
No accountability, right? No accountability. Remember the lack of,
yeah.
We're all different though, right? We're all different. Again, Uncle Ricky, our WhatsApp insider, take it for what it is. Is this guy related to the Vancouver Canucks? Yo, he's everyone's cousin. Ricky is everyone's cousin. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But he's saying that Pettersson will be gone for 50% of the return, which means like, yeah, pennies on the dollar or 2/4 on the dollar, and he's also saying the Canucks may have to retain on this deal.
Yeah, and this is why I don't think it makes much sense. Like, this is why I don't think it makes much sense to trade him, to be honest, because like I mentioned earlier this week, like, are you getting Josh Norris for Elias Pettersson? Like, is that the deal? And then like Josh Norris is your number one center. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to bet on the bounce back. But the people in the Canucks organization, you'd like to think that they know more than we do. And if they're really not believing in Elias Pettersson bounce back, then maybe you do got to try to move off of him this offseason. We'll save some more Pettersson speculation for another day. Let's wrap up the show quickly talking about the Abbotsford Canucks. All right. The Abbotsford Canucks 1 win away from the Calder Cup Finals. And it was Danila Klimovich, man, oh man, with a stellar goal to win it for the Abbotsford Canucks in overtime, a 5-4 victory. Lots of goals earlier in this game, and the Klein slowed down. Like, there was a point, I think it was like 4-3, and the Abbotsford Canucks had 11 shots, and the Texas Stars had like 15 shots. I mean, a lot of goals on not that many shots, but Shilovs came up with some big saves, and of course, Danila Klimovich, who has been in and out of the lineup in these playoffs, comes up with a massive goal. So I think that's a big takeaway. Can he be a legit prospect? He's got that skill. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, apparently a healthy scratch for this game as well. I think that was my other big takeaway from this contest.
Yeah, my only takeaway is that their 1 win away, and that Klimovich guy, he's had a pretty good bounce back season this year. Like he's kind of like, I wouldn't even say quadrupled his output, but like times 100 based on what he did in his first couple of years as a former 2nd-round pick. And, I'm pretty sure he was a healthy scratch prior to yesterday's game when he gets inserted in the lineup. And dude, that goal was all him. Like, Abbotsford's not winning that game unless, they score later, or again, Klimovich decides not to go full Patrick Kane, full Connor McDavid on whoever is playing for Texas. Like, that goal was elite. And it's cool to see him, like, again, just climbing, getting better and better at this thing called professional hockey in North America. Hey, speaking about getting better and better, let's end things off on this note. Shout out to everyone. Hit the like button. It really helps out the show. And think about what happened, okay? Because of your support, dude, we made it on CBC Radio, okay? I was talking to the people, courtesy of CBC Radio, on a show called On the Coast, right? And Trevor, you know what I did on CBC Radio? When I was doing my ramble about the Canucks and being jealous of the Florida Panthers, I mentioned that it's stressing me out that I'm 32 and a half years old, and I don't know. I may not see a sound because, right? I'm just thinking of the worst, And then I realized that, I just told all of Canada that I'm 32 and a half years old. And I don't know if anyone's ever heard that in a sentence before, right? I was the first person to ever say that out loud, 32 and a half. Like, that's crazy. And the inner child of me would be proud. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm proud of myself, Trevor. I kept it real, and I tell the truth, and I'm 32 and a half years old.
I'm proud of you, buddy. You should drop a link to that episode in the bio, because I've yet to listen to it, because I'm not a very good friend, right? We're more colleagues than friends now, but
that's okay. Your father, your mother, father,
you mother, father, yeah. So no, it's like I said, we said at the episode, I think it's still pinned to our YouTube page, that we believe the Canucks are going to win a Stanley Cup before the end of this decade, and that take was looking pretty good last year. It's looking ice cold this year. Although I did say that Rick Talk would not be the Canucks head coach by the end of the decade. And I remember you like rolled your eyes at me at the time, and look at that one turned out.
Yeah.
So again, you got to believe. You got to believe. that your team's going to figure it out. It's a fascinating offseason ahead. Alberta Canucks are making some heat. And Quinn Hughes is still a Vancouver Canuck, man. So anything is possible.
Can I just read this too? Before we get out of here again, I need everyone to go to yesterday's episode because people are coming after us, Trevor. And I like it because I know what a real Vancouver Canucks fan is. All right. You don't cheer for the team that eliminated you 13 months ago. The Oilers killed us. Can people realize that? Y'all want to cheer for the Oilers? They didn't just beat us. They killed us. Like, look at where we were last year compared to this year. And look at where we're going. They actually destroyed our franchise. And somebody just commented, hey, I'm a Canucks fan. And it's not about being a true Canucks fan. It's about standing up for Canada. It's about standing up for Canada. Okay. You know what? Man? I can't. You look at did you see what Elon Musk just said about Donald Trump? You can't even read the tweet online. Like, some stuff is going on. And now we got Canucks fans cheering for the Oilers and they're trying to justify it. And it's like, what the hell is going on? There's levels to this stuff. And we the South, again, comment we the South, go Panthers, go. And some people are more of a Canucks fan than some other Canucks fans, okay? And that's the bottom line, because Kyle Bowen said so.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. We the South, and if you're cheering for the Oilers, you're not a true diehard Canucks fan. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen. If you like what we're doing, and more importantly, if you believe in the We the South movement, go subscribe and like this video on YouTube, on the podcast side. Go follow us and leave a 5-star review. We'll be back tomorrow. And remember, We the South. Peace.